midnight.
I'm Rod Serling. You're listening to the Zero Hour.
Suspense.
I'm the Whistler.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Who is it?
The Fat Man.
Present The Man Called X.
The Mysterious Traveler.
Another journey into the realm of the strange and terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves. Where are we going? You'll find out when we get there.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Drama and Theater, brought to you by Duane Old Time Radio. Drama and Theater features some of the best programs from the golden age of radio, including Escape, The Fat Man, Suspense, The Whistler, Zero Hour, Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, and many, many more. Before we start today's drama, if you enjoy what I'm doing, let me ask you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is 100% free, and you will receive notifications on new posts. Lastly, if you have a moment, write a short 1 or 2 sentence review or give a rating on your preferred podcast service. A positive review or rating would help me out a lot. And now, on to the drama, and thank you for your support as always. I will not mess up again on I Love a Mystery, so we are going to return to I Love a Mystery with 6 episodes, which leaves the final 6 episodes to air next month. We are going to continue the storyline of Fear Creeps Like a Cat. In this post, we're going to have parts 9 through 14. And these episodes aired between October 13th, 1949 and October 20th, 1949. Again, this is Fear Creeps Like a Cat.
I Love a Mystery. A Carlton E. Morse audio novel featuring Jack, Doc, and Reggie, specialists in crime and adventure. Now following the Northwest trail of a missing millionaire, a killer cougar, and the Phantom Castle. This is Fred Foy introducing Jim Harmon's presentation of Les Tremayne and Tony Clay in an original Carlton Morse thriller, The Fear That Creeps Like a Cat. 7 o'clock in the evening in a wilderness cabin somewhere across the Canadian border in the Pacific Northwest. Here, the gang murdered the only man who could have given the trio a clue to Alexander Archer's whereabouts, and then, in a quick, daring move, took the 3 comrades prisoners. All day, the Cooper gang traveled by horse with their prisoners by rugged, dangerous trails, finally crossing into Canada through a gigantic natural tunnel. And now, at 7 o'clock in the evening, somewhat recovered from the trip, Jack, Doc, and Reggie sit before a great fire in a strange wilderness log cabin with their host and captor, Richard Cooper.
Gentlemen, the necessity for keeping you handcuffed to your chairs revolts me.
Well, it don't revolt you no more than it does us, Cooper.
Yes. As your host, I deplore the whole business. As your captor, however, it seems only logical.
Oh, there's logic in keeping us handcuffed to our chairs, all right?
Oh, you see my point.
You bet. Because if we wasn't chained down here, we'd bust you wide open and get out of here.
Apparently you haven't yet learned your lesson, Mr. Long.
What lesson?
I kept you gagged all day because you talked too much.
Now, looky here, Cooper. Every man's got a right to say his piece.
Not unless he has something intelligent to say.
All right, I can take a hint.
I hope sincerely you can, for your sake.
Darn polecat.
Mr. Packard, you seem disinclined to talk.
Nothing to say.
I realize you all must be deadly tired. There was a pretty strenuous trip through the mountains for anyone not used to horses.
Yes, especially with our hands tied behind us.
And yet you all came through it much better than some of our other guests.
I say, you make a regular habit of kidnapping people and bringing them up here?
Oh, nothing regular about it, but there are occasions...
Other investigators before us who have tried to find Alexander Archer, I take it.
Some of them, yes, some of them.
Bit of an organization you have. I've counted 5 men about this cabin, not including myself and Linda Joyce.
Oh, yes. 5 men on duty at this station.
Station?
Oh, yes. This is the Midway station on the underground passage.
You know, I've been giving this some thought, Cooper.
I'm not surprised.
This thing's too well organized simply to be a means of disposing of people who get too nosy about Alexander Archer.
That's logical.
I mean, Archer's only been missing a year. Everything indicates this setup has been established for a much longer time.
Oh, it has, I assure you.
Am I right in assuming it's an underground railroad for smuggling goods between the United States and Canada?
Oh, no. Dear me, no.
That's a logical assumption.
Yes, it could be used for that very well, but never has been.
I see.
There's one thing that puzzles me a bit. I mean to say, aren't you running a considerable risk in bringing us over the trail in the daylight and allowing us to see where you're taking us and how we get there?
Young man, that question shows a pitiful amount of simple faith and youthful optimism.
But look here. If we ever get out of this mess, you know Ballywell will turn in the whole business.
You're darn tootin' we will.
Mr. Packard, don't you think it's time you explained to your 2 comrades the true state of affairs?
What the heck are you talking about?
What Cooper's saying is none of us is ever going to be in a position to give him away.
Well, ain't that a beautiful thought for the day?
Quite. Furthermore, I'd say Mr. Cooper's inclined to be a bit on the optimistic side myself.
Well, that's the human mind. Hope rising eternally, each of us living with his own personal convictions.
Good of you to allow us our own personal convictions, Cooper.
Oh, please don't misunderstand me. I have no desire to threaten you, to make you more uncomfortable than necessary. Personally, I would never have brought up the subject of your future. That was done by Mr. York. Mr. Packard here is the only possible one of you who might have some small insight into the things which go on in my mind.
Not much. Beyond the fact that you're a very dangerous man.
Only dangerous because I'm intellectually your superior.
Perhaps that's true. All I know is that I sense something that warns me to watch out.
Speaking of sensing something, what's that raw, wild smell I keep a-smelling?
Quite. I get it, too. A bit like spoiled meat.
Oh, yes. That's my pen of mountain lions.
Yeah? I was going to ask you about that. We saw 'em when we first come. What the heck did Linda Joyce mean when we asked her what you kept mountain lions for?
What did she say?
That we'd probably find out for ourselves one of these days.
That girl is taking a great deal on herself. Linda!
Hello?
Linda, come up here.
There's that darn wolf dog again.
A fine animal. You haven't made his acquaintance yet.
Well, I made all the acquaintance I want to of him. When I see him from my window galloping around the house.
Quite. Big, ugly-looking brute. Biggest fangs I ever saw in a dog.
He's half wolf. There you are, Linda.
Yes?
Open the door and let Prometheus in.
Mr. Cooper.
Linda, open the door and let Prometheus in.
All right.
Prometheus.
He's coming.
Prometheus, there you are. That's York. Go over and say hello.
I say.
Prometheus, over there's Long. Go say hello.
You black devil, get out of here.
Prometheus, this is Packard. Say hello.
Hello, Prometheus.
Here. Now, and lie down.
You had a reason for having him make the rounds and smell each one of us, I suppose.
Oh, yes, indeed. He's intelligent. He'll never forget any of you. Watch this. Prometheus, go to Packard. You see, I just mentioned your name to him once. Come back in, lie down now.
So what?
Why, if it should ever be necessary to find one of you in a hurry, that's all.
I say, those fangs, they're positively beastly.
I've seen him tear the throat out of a full-grown bear with one slash of those fangs.
Oh, the throat of a bear?
Linda, you talked with these men about my pen of mountain lions?
Only that they were a hobby of yours.
Any mention of those animals is forbidden, as you have reason to know.
I spoke before I thought.
I'm afraid, my dear, that any more thoughtlessness on your part will have most unhappy results.
You're threatening me?
Nonsense, child. What a thought.
Yes, what a thought.
It's only natural for the human mind to relax. We all need to have our sense whipped into line now and again.
Yes, naturally. I'll be more careful in the future.
Good. Oh, then we can forget about it for something more pleasant. Oh, do you gentlemen play bridge?
Nope. Poker's my game.
Poker? Oh, splendid. I haven't had a good game of poker in a long while.
Yeah, just a minute, Cooper. Haven't we been given to understand that we begin another long trek on horseback early tomorrow morning?
Yes, I'm afraid that's right.
Well, I don't mind telling you, I'm dog-tired. Personally, I'd like to be taken to my room.
Oh, I'm sincerely sorry. What a bad host I've been. Shall we all retire then?
Well, very shortly. But I couldn't face cards tonight. If Doc here wants to play...
All according to what the stakes are.
Oh, I see. What stakes did you have in mind?
Well, now, just for instance...
Yes?
How about us playing for the limit?
I don't think I follow you.
You and me sit down and play a hand of draw poker.
Oh?
If I win, you turn us loose and give us half an hour head start before you try to catch us again.
And if you lose?
Well, if it's all right with Jack and Reggie, we'll guarantee to go along with you tomorrow without trying to get away.
A half hour of freedom tonight in return for good conduct tomorrow.
Well, are you a gambler, ain't you?
Oh, yes. That's no gamble. I've got everything to lose and nothing to gain.
Sure you have.
No, because you haven't the faintest possibility of getting away from me tomorrow. No, my friend. That's no proposition.
Well, what you got to offer?
Let's see. How about this? If you win, you get your half-hour freedom. And if you lose, you lend yourself to a little experiment of mine.
Oh, no.
Linda.
What you mean, a little experiment?
It really is a marvelous opportunity for you. Lend yourself to the advancement of scientific knowledge.
Doc, I think you're getting in over your head.
You mean let myself get bit by malaria mosquitoes, something like that?
Something, but not quite. Linda, I think you'd better leave the room.
Yes, I think I'm going to be sick.
Well, Long, what about it?
Yeah, well, that ain't exactly what I had in mind. But on the other hand, I'm a pretty doggone good poker player.
I won't consider it, Cooper.
The consideration is out of your hands.
I absolutely forbid it, Doc.
But if Cooper here was to give us half an hour head start, Jack, he'd never catch us.
Where's your good sense? If Cooper's taken all this trouble to bring us this far, you think he's going to take a chance of losing us for the fun of playing some one hand of poker?
Oh, I'll release you and give you a full half-hour head start.
You think you will, Jack?
Probably. But there's a catch in it.
Well, all I want to do is get free. I'll take my chances on the rest.
You seem very certain of winning the poker hand.
Of course I'll win. Ain't I told you I'm good at poker? What you say, Jack?
No. Positively.
Reggie?
Absolutely not.
Well, there you are, Cooper.
You mean you've decided not to play?
2 against 3. Majority rule in this outfit.
Oh, too bad. Apparently your two companions haven't the faith in your ability as a poker player that you have.
Hey, is that what you folks mean? You don't think I can beat this tin horn?
No, we don't mean you couldn't beat him. We're saying it's a trick. And you've got everything to lose and nothing to gain.
You're saying my good faith?
I'm saying your good faith is only good as far as it meets your convenience. Now then, if you'll release us from these chairs and take us to our room, I'd like to get some rest.
Jack, I still think
You never had a thought in your life. You want to play that hand of poker just to show off? Now shut up about it.
Hey, fella, you can't talk to me like that.
Jove, I say, Doc, we're all a bit on the nervy side tonight. Let's just drop the whole business.
Well, Dad, blame it anyway.
Cooper, will you stop fumbling with these cards and take us into our bedroom?
Oh, certainly, certainly. I'm sorry for all this unpleasantness.
Let it go.
I'll have to go call the men.
Well, go call them.
Too bad, yes. I'm afraid I've tried your patience too far.
Doc.
Yeah?
I'm sorry, but you didn't get the full significance of what he was saying. There was murder mixed up in that conversation.
Hey, what you talking about?
I know it. I saw it in his face.
I say, watch out. Somebody's outside the door.
Hey, it's Linda.
He mustn't catch me here. But don't ever do that again. Don't ever, ever do that again.
What do you mean, Linda?
It's just the chance he was looking for. Watch out for him.
Adventures of Jack, Doc, and Reggie have come to you in I Love a Mystery. Created and written by Carlton E. Morse. Scripts copyrighted by Morse Co. Incorporated. Produced and directed by story editor Jim Harmon. Featuring Les Tremaine as Jack Packard and Tony Clay as Doc Long. Consultants Frank Brzee and David Lloyd. Your announcer, Fred Foy. This presentation has come from Hollywood. I Love a Mystery. A Carlton E. Morse audio novel featuring Jack, Doc, and Reggie, specialists in crime and adventure. Now following the northwest trail of a missing millionaire, a killer cougar, and the Phantom Castle. This is Fred Foy introducing Jim Harmon's presentation of Les Tremaine and Tony Clay in an original Carlton Morse thriller, The Fear That Creeps Like a Cat. 5 o'clock in the evening in a motor launch among the Pacific Northwest Islands, somewhere off the coast of Canada, Jack, Doc, and Reggie began this million-dollar manhunt in an attempt to find Alexander Archer. Yesterday morning, they were taken prisoners by the Cooper gang and transported across the border into Canada by horses. Last night, they rested at an isolated cabin with Richard Cooper, Linda Joyce, and 5 other members of the gang. All day today, their horseback trip continued until an hour ago, when they came down to the edge of the Pacific. Here, they were loaded into a launch, and for the last hour, they have been cruising through the innumerable uninhabited islands which mark this portion of the coastline.
Oh, there, Mr. Cooper. Linda, go up forward and see what Frankie wants.
Sure, why not?
We're getting close to our destination. Shortly now, and you'll be rid of these handcuffs.
Yeah, but what's worrying me now is, if this here launch should get wrecked or something with us handcuffed to the rail...
Oh, no danger of that, I assure you.
Just the same, if it should happen, we're gone goslings and no two ways about it.
I say, the thing that interests me, I've never realized before how many islands there were off this part of the coast. We've passed so many I've lost count.
Oh, yes, hundreds of them.
They got white folks on them?
Oh, dear me, no. Most of them uninhabited. Some have never known the presence of white men.
Mr. Cooper.
Well, Linda?
Frankie says we're at extreme high tide. We can make it through the outer reef now if you're ready.
Oh, certainly. What's he waiting for?
For your orders.
Oh, yes, of course. Tell him to go ahead.
Hi, Frankie.
Yeah, what's he say?
Go ahead. Take us through as fast as possible.
All right. Hold on to your hats. Here we go.
What's he mean, here we go?
We're going to cross the reef. It's quite rough for a few minutes. Unfortunately, you gentlemen out here on deck are going to get wet.
What about you?
Linda and I will go down into the cabin.
And leave us three out here handcuffed through the rail?
I'm afraid it's necessary.
There's consideration for you. Great, huh, Jack?
If we're crossing a reef, then that must be the island we're heading for over there.
Ah, yes, that's right. Another 5 minutes, and we'll be in. Come, Linda. It's beginning to get sloppy.
See you boys after the flood.
Huh? How do you like them apples? We're going to get a ducking, and we just got to stand here handcuffed to the rail and take it.
Well, there's one thing.
Yeah? What?
We're apparently penetrating right into the heart of the Cooper gang's stronghold.
We're penetrating in all right, but are we going to be able to penetrate out again?
I think you've got something there, Doc.
That depends a lot on what we find on this island, I imagine.
Just remember, we ain't the first folks to be brought on this island. And we got Cooper's word for it that nobody that's ever come here's ever left it. Hey, there's rocks are sticking out of the water.
Look out. Here we go.
Hey, that's no way to treat a fella. Don't you come right up and slap me in the face.
Well, handcuffed to the rail, at least we won't be walked overboard.
Look out! Here we go again!
Well, that's all. We're inside the reef.
I say, notice how quickly the water grows calm again? We seem to be in a sort of a lagoon.
Well, I don't mind telling you, I could wring out my clothes and start a good-sized ocean of my own.
Yeah, we're all in the same fix there, Doc.
What is there about me and water? Any of it in miles, and it either gets on me or I fall in it.
Well, just the same, I prefer this to riding a horse.
I say, don't even mention horses. From the seat of my pants to the top of my shoes, I'm one long blister.
And if you think this here salt water's doing them blisters any good, man, oh man, I feel like the seat of my pants was on fire.
Listen, you two. This may be the only chance we'll get to talk together alone.
I say, you think they'll separate us?
I don't know what'll happen when we get on the island. All I know is that Richard Cooper is a very dangerous man, and I want both of you to promise me to watch your step.
Righto.
Especially you, Doc. Everything you say antagonizes him. Just don't talk so much.
Well, I'll try.
I'd advise you to, for your own safety.
But, Jack, what's it all about? Do you think Cooper's bringing us to this island has anything to do with our search for Alexander Archer?
Yes, it's all tied together some way. In fact, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Archer is on this island.
Hey, then if we can escape from here with Archer, our job's done.
Mm-hmm. That's great, Doc.
Huh? What you mean?
Here we are being brought to the island in handcuffs, and already you've not only got us free, but escaping with Archer.
Well, ain't that the idea?
You're the kind of an egg who turns back and looks at the answer before he's even read the problem.
And another thing I'm wondering about. What you suppose Frenchie and Marie think about our disappearing from Port Forest?
They probably think we've run out on them.
I say, do you think they'll be worried and call the police?
I hope that's what they'll do, but I doubt it. They don't know enough about what we're into.
Well, they was hired by the insurance company to take us to Port Forest. Won't they report back that we disappeared right after we got there?
I hope so. But Frenchie looked to me like a pretty irresponsible old codger.
Watch it. Here comes Cooper.
Oh, nice and dry, and here we are, wet as drowned rats.
Now, remember what I said, Doc. Hold your tongue.
Well, gentlemen, you appear to have come through with no ill effects.
Yes. The wetting was just what we needed to whet our appetite.
Well, don't take that too seriously. Linda.
Yes?
Bring up that bottle of brandy out of the cabin. A drop of brandy will ward off the cold. 3 or 4 minutes now, and we'll have you out of this and into some dry clothes.
Oh, still the good host.
Oh, yes, I pride myself on it.
I got my own opinions.
Young man, I find your personality very distasteful.
Oh, you do.
Doc.
Well, Dad blasted.
Shut up.
Jack, I swear to my grandpa, if I don't...
Doc, If you don't stop talking so much, I'll personally wring your neck.
A most unfortunate young man. Just listening to his voice sets my nerves on edge.
Well, you'd have a very unfortunate time of it in the state of Texas, then, I'm afraid.
Is that what it is?
I say, Cooper, isn't your pilot taking a bit of a chance?
What's that?
Well, heading us straight for those rocks on the shoreline.
He knows what he's doing.
You wanted a bottle of brandy?
Oh, Linda, yes. Give each of them a drink. They find it a bit chilly.
Say, you do look like well-dunked donuts.
Their hands are occupied. You'll have to hold it for them.
Sure. Here, Doc.
Looks like pretty dense forest on the island.
Yes, it's all heavily wooded.
Mr. York?
I say, thanks.
Is that reef we crossed all around the island?
Oh, yes, we're well protected from boats. Where we crossed is the only place a boat can get through, and then only at high tide.
What do you mean, protected?
Here, watch. You're going to see something very interesting in a moment.
I asked what you meant, protected.
Oh, did I say that?
No. Thanks, Linda.
My pleasure.
I say, look what's happening. We're running right into the interior of the island.
I thought that would surprise you.
Well, will you look at that? A doggone river.
Oh, not much of a river, but deep enough to take this launch inland quite a distance.
Well, we're almost there now.
Doggone, will you look at us? Chugging up a river with trees as tall as churches hanging right over us.
I say, beautiful.
Like it, huh?
I certainly do. I've heard about the natural beauty of the Northwest, but Joe...
Hey, what's that?
Oh, that's Prometheus. I've got him locked up down in the cabin.
You brought him along?
Oh, yes. He knows we're almost home.
I was hoping we'd left him behind.
No, not Prometheus. He's my right-hand man, right here on the island.
Right around the next curve is it.
Is what?
The landing pier.
Is that what you mean, Linda?
Why, yes, of course.
Jack, do you smell something queer?
Yeah, I do.
I've smelled it before. Raw. Wild. I say, mountain lions?
Hey, you got mountain lions on this island, too?
A few. Linda, tell Frankie to tie up at the lower dock.
Frankie?
Ahoy there.
Tie up at the lower dock.
All right, I get it.
Right around the bend, gentlemen, is our destination. And here we go around.
But this here mountain lion business...
Mr. Long?
Yeah?
Isn't it obvious that the matter is closed?
Maybe it's closed to you.
Doc, for the love of Mike, where's your good sense?
Huh? Well, all right, have it your way. Here we are around the bend. I don't see nothing.
I say, you don't see anything? Jack, will you look at that?
Stone castle?
A bit medieval. But we find it very comfortable. Tell Frank to cut the engines, Linda.
Cut the engines, Frankie.
Okay, all right.
A great medieval castle in this out-of-the-world island?
The story of how it got here is almost as amazing as the first sight of it. I must tell it to you sometime.
Hey, that mountain lion smells stronger than ever.
Linda, tell Frank to come here.
Frank, Mr. Cooper wants you.
You better come and take the helm, then.
All right. We're drifting in.
Doc, I warned you.
Huh? What's the matter?
What do you want, Mr. Cooper?
Put a gag in that man's mouth.
Hey, listen.
Ah, shut up. Open up your mouth.
Why, you darn ornery...
Oh, I say.
There. Yeah, that'll hold you.
All right. Now jump up on the pier and tie us up.
Yeah, 2 shakes.
Jack, did you ever see a more desolate pile of stone?
Does look more like a jail than a house. It's impressive, though.
There she is. Give me a hand, Mr. Cooper.
As soon as I'm up, bring up those 3 men.
Listen to me.
Oh, Linda.
Humor him if you want to stay alive.
Cooper?
Yes. As long as he finds you entertaining, you're safe.
What about Doc?
I'm afraid there isn't any hope for him. I'm crazy even to talk to you. Watch out.
Linda.
Yes?
Release Prometheus before you come up.
All right. That's all. Be smart.
Jack, what does she mean?
Watch it. Here comes Frank. Say, will you tell that Linda woman to keep away from us?
What's the matter?
Her smart cracks about us being dead men.
Quite. What kind of a she thing is she, anyway?
What do you care, pal? You'll be just as dead no matter what she says.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, sure. Got got your gun on him, Mr. Cooper?
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
All right. As soon as I unlock you from the rail, put your hands behind you. See?
Yes.
Behind you now. You're next, Texas. Behind you.
Here comes Prometheus.
Come here, Prometheus. Heel.
All right, that's all of you. Hop up on the dock.
Go ahead, Pop.
Gentlemen, we have arrived. From now on, you are my guests in the Phantom Castle. This castle sank into the ocean 2 centuries ago and no longer exists.
The adventures of Jack, Doc, and Reggie have come to you in I Love a Mystery. Created and written by Carlton E. Morse. Scripts copyrighted by Morse Co. Incorporated. Produced and directed by story editor Jim Harmon. Featuring Les Tremaine as Jack Packard and Tony Clay as Doc Long. Consultants Frank Brzee and David Lloyd. Your announcer, Fred Foy. This presentation has come from Hollywood. I Love a Mystery. A Carlton E. Morse audio novel featuring Jack, Doc, and Reggie, specialists in crime and adventure. Now following the northwest trail of a missing millionaire, a killer cougar, and the Phantom Castle. This is Fred Foy introducing Jim Harmon's presentation of Les Tremaine and Tony Clay in an original Carlton Morse thriller, The Fear That Creeps Like a Cat. Six o'clock in the evening in the Phantom Castle on one of the myriads of tiny islands off the west coast of Canada, Jack, Doc, and Reggie's million-dollar manhunt in an attempt to find Alexander Archer has ended with the three of them prisoners of Richard Cooper and his gang. The three have vanished from the outside world exactly as other investigators who have hunted Alexander Archer have vanished. The minute they arrived, their handcuffs were struck off, and they were escorted to a huge, musty chamber that apparently is to be their quarters.
It's utterly and ridiculously impossible.
Hi, Jack.
Well,
You should all come over here and look at this.
yeah? You should come over here and look at this.
Okay. What you found?
Look at those windows.
Yeah, all the windows is barred just the same way.
I don't mean the bars. Look at the architecture, how they're built.
What you mean? What I know about architecture?
Well, I don't know very much myself, but if this castle isn't typically Russian architecture of the early 1700s...
Huh? When did you say?
I said early 1700s.
Yeah, that's what I thought. What was the Russians doing over here off the coast of Canada in 1700?
How do I know? Besides, it wasn't Canada in those days.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing in 1700. I mean, nothing but red Indian.
That's right.
So why would Russians go and build a big castle like this here?
I don't know. Where's Reggie?
I don't know. Hi, Reggie.
Hello there.
Where you at?
Coming.
He's a-coming. You know, Jack?
Listen now.
Huh?
Listen how Reggie's footsteps ring. Just walking naturally.
Yeah. Should be hard sneaking up on a fella in here.
These great chambers that do it.
Jack, this is really amazing, this place.
Jack was just saying this was built back in 1700.
Well, it's certainly been redone since then.
Everything but sitz baths and electric lights.
Yeah, they got vent outlets here for hot air furnaces. Wonder why they didn't put in electricity as long as they was going modern on everything else. Hey, what was that?
One of Richard Cooper's pet cougars.
Enough to chill your marrow.
Well, apparently he has them penned up all over the island, so we'll probably hear a great deal of them.
You know, I'm getting so I can't stand mountain lions. Every time I even mention him around Cooper, he slaps another gag in my mouth.
Which brings up something I want to talk about.
Yeah? Why is Cooper so touchy about his pet cougars?
No, it's about you I want to talk.
About me?
Yes. Doc, you've antagonized Cooper to the point where you're in real danger.
No more danger than you two, am I?
More immediate danger. You heard Linda Joyce whisper to me just before we were brought in here.
That we were safe so long as we amused Cooper.
Exactly. Well, Doc, you've annoyed him from the start. So whatever danger there is, you're facing it first.
What kind of danger? What's he going to do? Shoot me? Stab me in the back? If I had some idea...
No, we're not entirely blind to what's going on.
What you mean?
What one thing stands out above everything else?
Absolute isolation from the world.
Mountain lion?
You're both right. And there you are.
Huh. I don't get it. Doggone, I wish he wouldn't do that.
These are the facts that we know. We've been kidnapped and brought to an island of which the world is utterly unaware. It seems that other men have been brought here and have never been heard of again.
You're giving me goosebumps, but go on.
Our captor, Richard Cooper, is a highly intelligent man. He claims great interest in the psychology and philosophy of medicine. He has numerous mountain lions in cages about which he maintains the strictest secrecy.
Yeah, we know all that, Jack, but what's that got to do with me? What's my danger?
I think he gave a clue to it last night at the halfway cabin.
Huh? Clue to what's going to happen to me?
Yes. You remember him wanting you to play a hand of poker?
Yeah.
And if you lost, you were to lend yourself to an experiment for the advancement of science?
Hey.
But look here, Jack. You mean Cooper is using these mountain lions for scientific research?
Well, you can see for yourself that they're an important part of Cooper's life, if he's a scientist.
And you think he wants to mess me into his cougar experiments?
Doc, I really don't know.
I'm supposing something like holding a stopwatch to see how long it takes a hungry cougar to chaw up and swallow a red-headed fella from Texas. He wants to give me one of them big cat's brains so I'll go around yowling and a-spitting.
Doc, cut it out.
Well, you brought the subject up. Said Cooper wants me for an experiment.
No, Doc.
You don't think I'm looking forward to having Cooper whittle on me, do you?
Will you take it easy and listen, Doc? We're all in the same boat. Whatever is in store for you is probably in store for us at a later date.
That's a comfort.
That is, unless we can find some way of fighting our way out of it.
But we couldn't break out of here, Jack.
Not if we had pickaxes and 20 years to do it in.
Not if you had 30 years.
Hey!
Cooper!
Hey, Cooper. Where'd you pop up from?
Oh, does it matter? I'm here.
I saw you come in. Silly trapdoor business.
Yes, Packard. I didn't suppose you'd be impressed.
What do you want?
Why, you're my guests. I came up to bring you down to our evening meal.
You mean we're free to descend the stairs and sit down to your table free men?
Oh, of course, of course. Dear, what did you expect of this place?
I reckon you'd throw some scrapping through the bars for us.
Long, if I allow you at my table, I must ask you to keep quiet.
Now, what have I said?
I simply despise hearing your voice.
Well, I'll be an overfed hipponoceros.
Doc.
Shall we go down then, gentlemen?
Isn't that half dog, half wolf howling?
Oh, yes. That's Prometheus. We tie him up at mealtime. He resents it.
That wasn't your wolf, dog.
Oh, no, that wasn't Prometheus. Wait a moment while I unlocked his door. That fellow seems to be a trifle hungry. All right, gentlemen. Wait for me, please. We'll all go down together. Now, follow me, please.
This is rather remarkable, Cooper. What's to prevent us from turning on you and making you our prisoner?
Oh, no.
Why not?
In the first place, men with loaded rifles are watching you. Will continue to watch you, except when you're locked up in your own quarters.
Hey, that sounds silly.
It isn't, though. I spotted one of them already.
That's the immediate reason why it would be foolish to attack me. Now then, gentlemen, down these stairs, if you please.
Like a doggone palace.
The next reason for restraining yourselves is that you could not get out of this castle if you were free to try.
Why not?
There's a deep moat completely encircling the castle. The only means of exit is the drawbridge by which we arrive.
All right, then we'd use the drawbridge.
No. No, you'd never do that.
Why not?
No. Don't ask me to expand on the reason. My little secret, if you will. But I assure you, you'll never use the drawbridge without my consent.
Well, that was a doggone lot of marble steps, if you ask me.
Yes, that's all of them. Now, this way into the dinner hall. I think Linda has a throw rug or two in her quarters. That's all. Beautiful old tile floors. Why should they be covered?
But don't you get a little tired of the click and clatter of feet?
All the servants wear rubber soles. You won't hear them. Here we are.
Well, what you know. Looks like we're gonna eat anyway.
Yes. Now, if you'll arrange yourselves around the board. Packard, on my right, please. Just pull out the benches and be seated. There now. Go right ahead. Oh, you'll find the soup delicious.
Just smell that, will you, Reggie?
Quite. Eat heartily. I'd like to see that. And while you're so doing, I'll return to the matter of your escape.
Yes, do.
Even if you were free of the castle and loose on the island, you'd not get away.
You think not, huh?
I know. It's been tried before. Numerous times before.
What stopped them?
The reef that completely encircles the island. A boat would be dashed to pieces. A swimmer would meet the same fate.
But see here, Cooper. Your man Frank brought us through in the launch.
Oh, yes, there's one place at high tide, but I defy you to find it.
Well, I bet you I could come pretty close to it if I had to.
Pretty close is not close enough. It's certain death, and I'm warning you against trying it.
Cooper, this castle, is it as old as it appears to be?
Oh, yes. Early 18th century.
Then why doesn't the world know about it?
The world forgot about it nearly 200 years ago when it sank into the ocean.
You're really being serious about that?
Oh, yes, it's the truth. Less than 50 years after this castle was completed by a Russian nobleman, the entire island sank, castle and all. Oh, there's history to prove that.
But when did it reappear?
I don't know. But when I first saw it about 35 years ago, there it was. A great ruin entirely covered with mold and vines.
35 years you've known about this place?
Oh, yes. Another man and I discovered it on a fishing trip. We saw its possibilities and immediately set to work restoring it with numerous modern facilities.
Cooper.
Yes?
You said there were two of you.
Oh, yes, that's right. Of course, we had the help of many dependable men.
I'm only interested in this other man. Was he Alexander Archer by any chance?
Why, yes, now you mention it, it was.
Hey, fella, if Archer's half owner of this here castle...
Quiet, Mr. Long.
But doggone it, Archer must be right here in this castle now.
Don't make it necessary for me to gag you before this meal's over.
But, Cooper, what's so out of the way about that?
What Long said was perfectly obvious.
It's obvious that Alexander Archer's in this castle.
Yes, and I detest hearing the obvious expressed.
Jack, then we've found Archer?
Oh, you didn't find him. I brought you to him.
Still, we found him.
Several other insurance investigators had the same honor, but I'm afraid it did them little good.
I wonder if you're telling the truth.
Mr. Packard, I don't lie.
I want to see Archer with my own eyes.
Would you know him if you saw him?
I would. Well, when do I see him?
I'm afraid That's impossible.
Why?
Alexander Archer's a very sick man. I don't think he's going to last much longer.
Sick?
But, Jack, if he dies, then the insurance company is out the $1 million.
Oh, yes. I'm afraid my old friend hasn't much chance.
Are you murdering Alexander Archer?
Oh, dear. Such unpleasant conversation.
Well, you admit doing away with them insurance investigators, don't you?
Oh, yes, Long. I'm afraid I do.
What happened to them? What'd you do to them?
The same thing that's going to happen to you very shortly now, my talkative friend.
Adventures of Jack, Doc, and Reggie have come to you in I Love a Mystery. Created and written by Carlton E. Morse. Scripts copyrighted by Morse Co. Incorporated. Produced and directed by story editor Jim Harmon. Featuring Les Tremaine as Jack Packard and Tony Clay as Doc Long. Consultants Frank Brzee and David Lloyd. Your announcer, Fred Foy. This presentation has come from Hollywood. I Love a Mystery. A Carlton E. Morse audio novel featuring Jack, Doc, and Reggie, specialists in crime and adventure. Now following the Northwest trail of a missing millionaire, a killer cougar, and the Phantom Castle. This is Fred Foy introducing Jim Harmon's presentation of Les Tremaine and Tony Clay in an original Carlton Morse thriller, The Fear That Creeps Like a Cat. Seven o'clock at night in the great reception room of the Phantom Castle on an unidentified island somewhere off the west coast of Canada, Jack, Doc, and Reggie are prisoners of Richard Cooper. Here are the essential facts. The castle, built in 1700 by the Russians, sank with the island only to emerge from the sea some 150 years later. It was found and restored by Richard Cooper and Alexander Archer, unbeknownst to the world. About the island is a vicious reef, preventing any ship from approaching and anyone on the island from escaping. Immediately about the castle is a deep moat of swift water, so that the castle stands on a tiny island within the main island. And here, within these great rooms, the three comrades are prisoners. Doc is in particular danger, because he is disliked by Cooper, and whom Cooper dislikes, he destroys. And their captor host have just finished dinner and have retired to the great reception hall.
Well, that was a very good dinner, Cooper.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
How was it that Linda Joyce didn't dine with us?
Oh, she prefers to eat in her own quarters. Do sit down. Sit down, all of you. Make yourselves comfortable.
Look here. Did I see you just now press a button?
That's right.
But that means electricity.
Oh, yes, we have our own power plant. A little bit incongruous in an ancient castle, I admit, but still we have it.
Then why not electric lights?
What's that?
You say you got electricity. Why don't you have some electric lights then instead of these here smelly old oil lamps?
I beg your pardon. They are not in the least smelly.
Well, that's what my mama always used to say down in Texas. She used to say, darn a smelly, smoky old lamp anyway.
I prefer the old-fashioned virtues myself.
You consider the oil lamp an old-fashioned virtue?
I most certainly do. Oh, yes. Just one thought, gentlemen. Prometheus.
I say, that brute of a wolf dog.
On guard, Prometheus. Just in case any of you might take it into your heads that you can avoid my hospitality. I won't be long.
What's he mean he won't be long? Where's he going?
I say, I wish that bloody beast would stop grinning in this direction.
Prometheus? That's no grin. That's a leer.
Keep looking at me with those bloodshot eyes, fangs like a bear.
Yeah, more wolf than dog, if you ask me.
That bell he wears on his collar is a fine bit of irony in itself.
Well, gentlemen, I haven't been any longer than necessary. I hope you haven't been bored.
Oh, not in the least.
Hi, Frankie. Old siffy cat.
Never mind the bouquet.
Frankie?
Yeah, Mr. Cooper.
You have the handcuffs?
Handcuffs? Hey.
Yeah, here they are, Mr. Cooper.
Oh, yes, very good. Now, Mr. Packard, if you lay your wrists along the arm of the chair...
What's the idea, Cooper?
On guard, Prometheus.
What's the matter with you, Cooper? Tell that wolf to lie down.
Now, Prometheus stands ready until you're all handcuffed to your chairs.
Well, that's ridiculous. You've shown us that we can't get out of the castle, let alone off the island.
That's right.
Then why handcuff us to our chairs?
In due time, Mr. Packard, in due time. Your wrist, please.
I refuse to be handcuffed.
Frankie? Yeah.
Why, you low down...
Doc, don't move. Look at that dog.
Good thing you didn't move, Mr. Long. Prometheus would have been at your throat.
Yeah, doggone.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you, Frankie.
That's the second dirty blow you've given me, Frankie, my boy. Packard the pachyderm, they call me. Never forgets an injury.
Now then, Mr. York.
Doc and I could give him a bit of a battle.
With that wolf standing over Doc?
Yeah, one whiff of his breath makes me weak at the knees.
But at least we've got a fighting chance.
No use, Reggie. Save it.
That's good advice, young man. Good advice. Now, the other arm. That's it.
Valley well don't like it. I can tell you that.
All right, Prometheus. It's okay. Lie down. Now then, Frankie, bring that table with the lamp on it over here.
Yeah, sure. Table, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, ain't you going to handcuff me the same way as you done Jack and Reggie?
Oh, that's right, Mr. Long.
Oh, yeah? But look here, why not?
Aren't you enjoying your special privileges? That's it, Frankie. Put the table right down here between us.
Yeah.
Look here, Cooper. I don't know what's going on, but could I ask one favor?
Oh, what's that?
Call off that wolf dog just long enough for me to get one crack at that polecat's mug.
What about it, Frankie?
Sure, why not?
Go ahead, Mr. Long. Nothing's holding you back.
You mean that? You won't stick that wolf on me?
Oh, I promise.
That's all I want to know. Here I come.
Well, come on. What's all this chatterboxing for?
Well, I should come, huh?
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right. You asked for it.
Frankie, get to your feet. Get to your feet, you hear?
How the heck's he going to get to his feet when he's sleeping like a baby?
I say, Doc, good work.
Well, what you think I was doing? Waltzing with him?
Well, this is interesting. Yes, sit down, young man. Sit down.
Why should I sit down?
Huh?
Yeah, I just knocked out Frankie, didn't I? What's going to keep me from treating you the same way?
What is?
Yeah, what is?
Why, Prometheus here, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Lie still. Now then, will you sit down, please?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Now then, my boy, we're about to enjoy that little hand of draw poker we missed out on last night.
Poker?
Oh, yes. And here are the cards.
Now, wait a minute, Cooper.
Quiet, Packard. You're not concerned in this.
Now, just wait a minute, Cooper. I ain't said I'd play you a game of poker.
Oh, but you will, of course.
Well, I don't know whether I will or not.
I think you will. Now then, Sit down and shuffle the cards while I explain the wager.
No, sir. I ain't touching them cards till I hear what we're playing for.
It's to be draw poker.
Yeah?
You are scheduled to be a part of a scientific experiment of mine.
Don't listen to him.
Quiet, please. There's no way out for you. You're my prisoner, and I shall use you any way I see fit.
What's that got to do with this poker game?
Oh, just this. You're going to gamble with me on how soon the experiment takes place.
Do what?
Yes. Yes, instead of money, these poker chips represent hours.
Hours, huh? 24 chips, 24 hours.
Oh, yes. At this moment, you are 24 hours away from your fate. Every chip you lose brings you 1 hour closer to the experiment. Every chip you win from me adds 1 hour to your life.
You mean if I keep on winning chips from you, I keep adding hours to my life?
That's right.
And when I win all the chips in front of you, what happens?
Oh, I'm the banker. I can keep on losing chips as long as it suits my humor.
Well, what's we are waiting for? This is right down my alley.
But remember, if you lose your stack, when those 24 chips are gone, it's the end.
Start dealing the cards, Cooper. Win, lose, or draw. This is going to be one rip-snorting poker game.
Adventures of Jack, Doc, and Reggie have come to you in I Love a Mystery. Created and written by Carlton E. Morse. Scripts copyrighted by Morse Co. Incorporated. Produced and directed by story editor Jim Harmon. Featuring Les Tremaine as Jack Packard and Tony Clay as Doc Long. Consultants Frank Brzee and David Lloyd. Your announcer, Fred Foy. This presentation has come from Hollywood. I Love a Mystery. A Carlton E. Morse audio novel featuring Jack, Doc, and Reggie, specialists in crime and adventure. Now following the northwest trail of a missing millionaire, a killer cougar, and the Phantom Castle. This is Fred Foy introducing Jim Harmon's presentation of Les Tremaine and Tony Clay in an original Carlton Morse thriller, The Fear That Creeps Like a Cat. Midnight in the Phantom Castle on an unidentified island somewhere off the west coast of Canada. Jack, Doc, and Reggie are the prisoners of Richard Cooper, who has hindered their search for Alexander Archer from the beginning. Now that he has brought the three comrades to this ancient island castle, they have found out the following. Alexander Archer himself is apparently a prisoner in the castle also, and at the moment very ill. That no one brought to this island by Cooper has ever left alive. That Cooper, besides being interested in keeping the outside world from finding Archer, is engrossed in some kind of scientific problems which have to do with experimenting with mountain lions and human beings, And finally, that Cooper enjoys playing with his victims as a cat enjoys playing with a mouse. Witness the manner in which he is working on the nerves and emotions of the three comrades.
Now then, inside with you.
But Jack, take it easy, Reggie. Come on. Good night. Well, here we are, Reggie. Back upstairs in our own special dungeon. Hardly call this a dungeon, though. 3 or 4 rooms as big as barns with all modern conveniences.
But what about Doc?
Well, what about him? He's downstairs playing poker with Cooper.
But it doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense around here. Why did he keep us chained to our chairs down there from 8 until midnight while he and Doc played poker?
I don't know.
And why did he suddenly decide he didn't want us about anymore? Why did he order Frankie to bring us back up here to our rooms while he and Doc went on playing poker?
I don't know that either.
I don't know what's the matter with me, Jack, but I'm afraid.
What of?
I don't know. If I could only find out, if I only knew. But you sense it, Jack, don't you?
Yes, of course. There's real, actual danger here. That's the reason we can't afford to lose our heads.
I don't know what's the matter. I've never felt like this before in my life. A sort of a creeping horror.
Come on over here. Sit down on the bed. Go ahead. Sit down.
Quite.
Now then, let's try to get to the bottom of this thing. There's reason behind what's going on here. A sinister reason, perhaps, but nevertheless a good, sound reason.
Of course. We started out in search of Alexander Archer, and this is Cooper's way of stopping us.
No. It's more than that. We've had proof that Cooper doesn't gag at murder. So if he simply wanted to stop our search for Archer, why didn't he kill us in Port Forest? No. There's something more.
The man's insane, in my opinion.
No, he's not. No. Cooper's deadly sane. As a matter of fact, he's so sane. Listen to that. They're not pets. They're part of something he's doing, something that's very important in his life. If we could find out what that is...
I don't like it. You hear? I don't like it.
Listen. Let's analyze what Cooper's done to us so far. Let's see if it doesn't make sense somewhere.
Quite. I know I'm acting like a bloody blighter.
First, he kidnaps us and goes to a great deal of pains to make sure we're completely disappeared out of the world.
Quite. We're as non-existent as Jake Sims' body after Frankie threw him in the underground river.
That's number one. He's made us feel utterly in his power. Now, number two. He brought us to a heavily wooded island, in the midst of which is this great, evil-looking medieval castle.
Phantom Castle. Sank 2 centuries ago and then arose after lying on the bottom of the ocean all those years.
So he says. I want more proof than his word.
He says there's a history.
No matter where it's been the last 200 years, the matter of its presence here in this wilderness is too fantastic. We're not only lost to the world, but we've been plunged into a sort of nightmarish fairyland.
Land of monsters, screaming panthers, great wolf dog with bloodshot eyes and wicked fangs. Old man Cooper playing with us like a cat with a mouse.
There you hit the key to the whole business. He's a sort of god in this world. We're merely something to amuse him. He can poke us with his finger and watch us wriggle. When he's tired, crush us under his heel.
But that's mania, Jack. Wanting to be God, to subjugate his fellows. That's insanity.
He likes to dominate, yes, but his real purpose is something else, something scientific. Haven't you noticed how he keeps referring to the advancement of science?
You mean in connection with Doc?
Well, he's fixed his attention on Doc right now, yes.
That crazy mad poker game. Doc down there playing for his life. Each poker chip representing an hour in his life.
Doc never played better poker.
Whatever possessed Cooper to start a game like that? If he really intends to use us for experiments, what's the object of delay? Why sit down at cards and tell your victim that every poker chip he can win represents another hour of reprieve for him?
Well, in the first place, real gamblers like high stakes.
But Doc's life?
He's down there sweating agony right now, but if he ever gets out of here, this will be the one poker game above all others. I think Cooper is enjoying it just as keenly.
You don't think Doc is in any immediate danger?
Not now. Remember what Linda Joy said? As long as you amuse Cooper, you're safe. Well, I think Doc's giving him the time of his life.
I hope so. When Cooper had us handcuffed to our chairs down there, I thought something beastly was about to happen.
Hold it.
All right. Come in, Doctor.
Hello, Linda.
All right, guard. Close and lock the door. I'll pound on it when we're ready to come out. Evening, Jack. Reggie?
Righto.
Late evening. Midnight, anyway.
Well, Mr. Cooper thought you boys might like to meet his assistant while he and Doc are finishing up their poker game.
Oh, they are finishing it up.
Yes. They're almost through. Dr. Thorne, I want you to meet Jack Packard.
Mr. Packard.
And this is Reggie York, Mr. Thorne.
Oh, yes. Oh, he'll do.
I'll do for what, Dr. Thorne?
What? Oh, yes, I see what you mean. Just talking out loud.
Perhaps you were, but I don't care for what you said.
Oh, come on. Let's try to get along. Everyone sit down.
Thank you, Miss Joyce.
You say Cooper thought we'd like to meet Dr. Thorne?
Yes, he's Cooper's assistant.
Assistant in what?
By his scientific investigations, of course.
Specifically, just what is Cooper investigating? What field of science is he so interested in?
Linda, I was under the impression these men were informed.
Well, you know how it is. Cooper was supposed to have told him, but I guess he didn't.
Very definitely he didn't.
Oh, yes, I see.
So, supposing you break down and tell us yourself.
If you wish, we are particularly interested in the sensation of fear, terror, especially as it is expressed in the human mind.
Fear? Terror?
That leaves a lot to be explained.
There's a very interesting experiment going on downstairs at this moment.
You mean that poker game?
Right. I was down watching a few moments ago. Extraordinary how much zest and vigor your friend Doc shows, even after 4 hours of steady playing. Oh, mind clear as crystal. Quick decisions, muscular reaction above normal, and all this because the man is playing for his life. Every fiber of mind and body are lashed to superhuman efforts by fear.
You mean Doc really is playing for his life? That business about each chip representing an hour?
Oh, positively. The number of hours until he participates in the most serious experiment, I may almost say in its final experiment for us, depends on the number of poker chips he has in front of him at the end of the game.
And when does the game end?
Let's see. Yes. 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, isn't it, Miss Joyce?
Yes.
This man isn't being funny, Linda.
Funny?
He's perfectly serious about everything he's saying.
Oh, I assure you he is.
I wasn't sure. He spoke so glibly about using Doc in one final experiment. I assume you mean by that the experiment will lead to his death.
Almost certain to.
So you have joined Cooper in the butchering business?
I beg your pardon?
Murder. Butchering your fellow beings.
Miss Joyce, what's this man talking about?
Well, after all, Dr. Thorne, you can't expect victims to look upon you as a very high type of individual.
I am a scientist.
Sure, but no one likes to die, even at the hands of a scientist, even for so noble a cause as the advancement of science.
The layman has a most peculiar point of view.
Dr. Thorne, if Mr. Cooper was to throw you to his pen of mountain lions...
Miss Joyce.
Oh, all right.
Did you say throw him in the den of mountain lions?
Oh, just a rather gruesome figure of speech.
May I ask you a question, Dr. Thorne?
Certainly.
You say you and Cooper are studying fear and its reactions on the mind and body of human beings.
That's right.
Then what are the mountain lions for?
I'd rather not talk about that, Mr. Packard.
Why not? They're a part of your experimental work, aren't they?
Yes, they are that.
Well, then, why so hesitant to talk about them? I thought all true scientists were eager to discuss their work.
Listen. Prometheus is howling. That means Cooper's tied him up for the night.
And that means the poker game's over.
Yes.
Well, then, Doc will be up here in a minute.
I don't know.
Why not? What do you mean you don't know?
Why, I imagine it will depend on how many poker chips he had left at the end of the game.
That was the understanding, wasn't it? He began with 24 chips, which represented 24 hours. Every chip he won from Cooper added another hour to his existence.
And with every chip he lost, deducted an hour?
Oh, yes, that's right. If he lost all his chips, I don't think you'll see your friend again.
Linda, you can do something about that, can't you?
Why?
Of course you can. I don't care what happened in that game. I want to see Doc again.
But...
I won't take no for an answer. I want to see Doc again. You understand?
You're being unreasonable, Packard.
I don't care anything about reason. I want to see Doc.
Are you going to take us to Cooper?
It's no use, Reggie. If Cooper's decided...
Dr. Thorne, you're a dead man unless...
Hold it.
Hiya, folks. Here I am. Hey, Reggie, you ain't a-choking that fella, are you?
I was.
Well, doggone.
Close the door, guard. Everything's all right.
Oh, you're back with us for the night.
Why, yeah, sure. Why?
Well, we were just getting a little nervous.
Hey, you didn't think I lost in a poker game, did you?
We didn't know.
Shucks, no. Looky here. 32 poker chips. 32. Count them, folks.
Too bad it wasn't 132.
Nope. Cooper was too smart for that. Doggone smart poker player.
Well, you're satisfied then?
Sure. 32's better than a kick in the teeth, I always say.
That's it then. 32 hours to live.
Well, what the heck? I can do a lot of living in 32 hours. Doggone if I can't.
The adventures of Jack, Doc, and Reggie have come to you in I Love a Mystery. Created and written by Carlton E. Morse. Scripts copyrighted by Morse Co. Incorporated. Produced and directed by story editor Jim Harmon. Featuring Les Tremaine as Jack Packard and Tony Clay as Doc Long. Consultants Frank Brzee and David Lloyd. Your announcer, Fred Foy. This presentation has come from Hollywood. I Love a Mystery. A Carlton E. Morse audio novel featuring Jack, Doc, and Reggie, specialists in crime and adventure. Now following the Northwest trail of a missing millionaire, a killer cougar, and the Phantom Castle. This is Fred Foy introducing Jim Harmon's presentation of Les Tremaine and Tony Clay in an original Carlton Morse thriller, The Fear That Creeps Like a Cat. Seven o'clock in the morning in the Phantom Castle on an unidentified island somewhere off the west coast of Canada. Jack, Doc, and Reggie are prisoners of Richard Cooper, who uses human guinea pigs in his scientific research into the realm of fear and terror. Last night, they met Cooper's assistant, Dr. Thorne, who told them that they were to be used in combination with mountain lions for the purpose of further research into the field of human terror. The manner and method of the experiment have not been revealed. All that seems certain is that Doc is to be the first victim, and that he is to face whatever is in store for him 32 hours from midnight last night. Now at 7 o'clock this morning, 7 of those precious hours are gone.
Hey, Jack, Reggie, you folks awake?
What's the matter, Doc?
You know what them sippy cats done to me last night?
No, what?
Well, wait till I get my shoes on. I'll come in and tell you. There.
Morning, Doc.
Listen to my footsteps, will you? Every time I walk around in here, I feel like I'm in a big auditorium.
Well, it's big enough for an auditorium. What's your trouble?
Well, you think there's trouble?
Well, because you're up and dressed at 7 in the morning, that isn't natural.
Well, Jack, you know what that passel of polecats done to me last night? After we went to bed, every hour, all night long, one of them guards come in and woke me up and made me give him one of my poker chips.
What's that?
I swear to my grandma he did.
But I don't get it. What is the object?
Didn't say. Just come in every hour and took one of them poker chips. You get it, Jack?
Yes, I'm afraid I do.
Then do a little explaining, will you?
You came up to bed last night at midnight with 32 chips you won in the poker game.
That's right.
And each chip represented an hour.
Yeah, 32 chips, 32 hours I had to go until they're going to perform some kind of experiment on me, according to Cooper.
Well, don't you see? Each hour they took a chip away from you, one of your hours gone. How many chips you got left?
Well, I don't know. I'll go get them and look.
But, Jack, that's childish. What's Cooper's objection?
Not so childish. Cooper knows his psychology. He's trying to create fear in Doc.
Oh, look here.
He knows that watching those chips disappear one by one, actually seeing his numbered hours slipping away, will have a much more potent effect on Doc's nerves. Hold it. He's coming back.
Yeah, they took 7 chips away during the night. That leaves me 25. Silliest darn thing I've heard of yet. Taking a chip every hour when they could just as well be taking all 7 of them this morning.
Didn't bother you any, though.
Well, it made me pretty darn sore, him waking me up that way. When you reckon they'll call us down to breakfast to bring us something up here, whatever they do for eat?
Doc?
Yeah?
Look here, old fella. Do you quite realize what those 25 chips represent?
Sure, 25 hours I got left.
Well, you're taking it with bally little concern.
Huh? Hey, Jack, what's eating Reggie?
A little on the nervy side this morning.
Certainly I'm on the nervy side. I didn't sleep well, and if you ask me, I think it's time we got out of this place.
No.
Yes, I do.
Well, how do you suggest we go about it?
I don't care. Let's do something.
Oh, shucks now, Reggie. Don't you getting all upset and stuff.
And as for you, Doc, you're crazy as the rest of these bally maniacs around here.
Yeah. Hold us, son.
Well, you are. Playing poker for your life, and then accepting the outcome as though you were paying off with toothpicks.
Reggie, you're in exactly the frame of mind Cooper was hoping for.
I don't care.
You're playing right into his hands. He's interested in the fear complexes. Now, if you work up a good crop of hysteria, you're liable to be the next experiment instead of Doc here.
Yeah, and we can't have that, Reggie.
All right, let them. I'm ready for any bloody experiment they can work up.
Reggie, you going to give us trouble? Cooper's interested in scaring his man. If Doc doesn't scare, he hasn't got any experiment.
You're not afraid, Doc.
Well, up to now, I ain't seen nothing to be scared of.
But the whole bally atmosphere of this place.
Sure, it smells like some decayed slaughterhouse. But what the heck? The beds are good, food ain't bad.
Those chips they keep taking from you. The hours growing shorter.
Just plain silly.
Well, if Doc isn't concerned, I don't know why I should be.
Now you're talking. You're kind of on the young side yet. When you've done as much waiting for the worst to happen as me and Jack has done, well...
I suppose I look pretty silly to you, too.
You're doing all right.
Besides, son, looky, 25 whole hours to go. Well, heck, that's practically a whole lifetime. More things can happen in the next 25 hours than you could write in a dozen books.
Quite.
Well, look now. If everybody's dressed and everything, how about us kicking up a fuss and see if we can't get something to eat?
Just a minute first, Doc. Reggie, do you give us your word?
About what, Jack?
That you won't in any way give Cooper the idea that you're frightened?
If you say so.
I do say so. It's important.
Righto.
All right, then. Let's see what...
Hey, here's somebody.
Good
Good morning, gentlemen.
Well, if it ain't the old poker player himself. How are you, Cooper?
Oh, dear me. So bright and cheerful this morning.
Of course I am. Why not?
Yes, and I see by my watch that it's time you turned over another of those chips to me.
Yeah, another hour gone, sure enough.
Oh, I'm afraid it has.
Well, then I reckon I got to kiss another old chip goodbye. Here you are.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, look, Cooper. How about you and me playing another game of poker tonight?
What's that?
Yeah, my stack of chips is kind of dwindling. How about giving me another chance to build it up again?
No. I'm afraid not.
No, huh?
No, couldn't do that. Oh, you're much too good a poker player.
Oh, so you admit I'm too good for you.
Well, you were last night. I was lucky to keep your pile down to 32 chips.
Your problem in psychology isn't working out very well, is it, Cooper?
Packard, I was wondering whether you weren't going to speak to me this morning.
I said your problem in psychology.
Yes, I heard you.
Doc's got a lot of weaknesses, but one of them isn't an overactive imagination.
Yes, I'm beginning to find that out.
What you mean I ain't got no imagination?
In this case, it's to your advantage, Doc.
Yeah?
Yes. If you were highly imaginative, you should be in a sweat of fear about now, with all the hocus-pocus Cooper here is set up to work on you.
Yeah? Doggone, Cooper, that's a shame, wasting all your time like this.
No, don't mind me. If I could find a man with a complete lack of fear, I haven't done so badly. It will make an interesting note in the appendix of my treatise.
Huh? What's he saying?
Looks like you're to be an interesting note in his appendix.
Appendix, huh?
So he says.
Well, I'll tell him one thing. He won't like me in this appendix. He's got to need an appendectomy the minute he puts me there.
You see, Cooper, he's scared to death.
Senseless conversation. Senseless. What's the matter with you, Mr. York?
I say.
Hunger. What about some breakfast?
Bit morose, aren't you, young man?
Quite. Always out of temper before I've had my coffee.
Yeah, when do we eat?
Food. Oh, yes, of course. Food. But I came up to see if you wouldn't like a little exercise before breakfast.
What sort of exercise?
Walk about the island.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
Yes, you've had little opportunity of seeing anything but the inside of the castle so far.
You mean you'll take us across the moat onto the main part of the island?
Yes, that was my thought.
Good. Let's go.
Yes, just a minute. You'll allow me to slip on the handcuffs first.
Well, what's that for? You said there was absolutely no way for us to escape from the island.
Yeah, you said we'd be killed if we tried to cross the reef that circles around this island.
True. But you might try it just the same.
Well, that would be our hard luck, wouldn't it?
No. 3 fine specimens. Mustn't take a chance of losing any of you. Besides, once out into the fresh air, you might take it into your hands to attack me.
Oh, that'd be silly if we couldn't escape from the island.
Nevertheless, you might do it, and I'm too old a man to be knocked about. Put your hands behind you, gentlemen.
No, I absolutely refuse.
Yeah, now, that's not at all friendly.
I tell you I won't. Not under any circumstances.
What's the matter, boy?
Reggie.
Yes, Jack.
Put your hands behind you. Put your hands behind you.
Quite.
Yes. Now, that's better. Here, no use to clench your fist like that. There. Now, Mr. Long.
Sure. Clip 'em on. It's getting so I don't feel natural without these here cuffs on.
Now, you, Packard.
Go ahead.
But, Jack, we could have bashed this chappie right here and now.
You think so? Look at the guard at the door.
Yeah, and that elephant gun of his would have blown a hole in you so big.
Yes. Friendliness, good feeling. That's the spirit. Now then, are we ready?
Yeah, come on. Let's get started on this sightseeing tour.
Very well, gentlemen. Follow me. Now then, down these stairs to the drawbridge. There now. Open the door, guard. Dr. Thorne will be waiting for us on the other side of the drawbridge. Follow me, please.
This Dr. Thorne fella going to take this sightseeing trip with us?
Oh, yes.
How about Linda Joyce?
No.
Hey, what you leaving her out for? Don't she like to go for walks before breakfast, too?
Now then, gentlemen, we'll lower the drawbridge.
Yeah, there she comes.
Yeah, what started? What's making it come down?
No, you don't. That's my secret. There now, we can cross.
Doggone, crossing a drawbridge out of an honest-to-goodness castle. Wonder how many other folks in our generation's done that. Interesting, huh? Huh, Reggie?
I suppose so.
Hey, Red, snap out of it.
No, let me alone.
Okay, fella.
There now. That brings us across. And there is Dr. Thorne waiting for us.
Yeah. Hey, look, Cooper, I just happened to think of something.
Well?
You didn't answer my question a while ago.
Oh, didn't I?
No. I asked you if that Linda Joyce gal would like to walk with us.
Yes, I know you did.
Well, wouldn't she?
Young man, I'm afraid you'll see very little of Linda Joyce in the future.
What do you mean by that, Cooper?
I've just discovered an interesting fact about Linda.
Yeah? What?
That young woman got into my good graces for no other purpose than to discover the whereabouts of Alexander Archer.
Alexander Archer?
You mean Linda's on our side? She was hunting Archer, too?
Yes. Too bad, too. A very beautiful young woman.
What you mean, too bad?
Too bad for her. Excellent for me. Women make wonderful specimens for my work in fear hysteria. Yes. Wonderful specimens.
The adventures of Jack, Doc, and Reggie have come to you in I Love a Mystery. Created and written by Carlton E. Morse. Scripts copyrighted by Morse Co. Incorporated. Produced and directed by story editor Jim Harmon. Featuring Les Tremaine as Jack Packard and Tony Clay as Doc Long. Consultants Frank Brzee and David Lloyd. Your announcer, Fred Foy. This presentation has come from Hollywood.
Thank you for listening to and showing your support for my podcast. If you would like to receive notifications of when new episodes are posted, please subscribe to my channel. Subscriptions are 100% free, and they really help me get an idea of how I'm doing. Well, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe, wish you well, and as always, peace.